Your past is a gift. So in a previous video, I gave an example, okay, of, say you're one of those kids that was at the park and you're on a swing, just talking about events and what we take away from events and how we can interpret them now in a way that serves us, okay? So it doesn't make us feel bad about who we are, but we can see the truth of it and we can move forward from there. So say for example, because this happens to many kids, okay, you'll be at the park and you'll be on a swing, for example, okay, and then you fall off, you break your arm, you end up in the hospital in a cast, okay? Now, for many of you that have been through a situation where you've broken an arm or you've broken a leg or you've hurt yourself in some way and you end up in the hospital and you're there with your parents, for many of you, your parents will somehow make you feel bad that this happened, okay? It's what you take away from the event, that you were careless, that you were reckless, or stupid. You know, a lot of parents use the word stupid, you know, that this happened to you. And the truth of it is, when you look at it, okay, many of these things, if you are a kid, you will not be able to understand it until you have your own kids. There were a lot of things about my mum that I could not understand, or about my dad, you know, until I had my own child. And once you have your own children and you know what it feels to have this huge responsibility, this life, all of a sudden is in your hands. For many of us, that's how we feel. We've been, you know, given this life to protect, to guide, to nurture, to support, to love, you know? And when you go through moments like that, you know, that your child gets hurt, they've broken their arm or they've broken their leg, you know, at the park, you've fallen off the swing, many parents will make you feel bad that you've hurt yourself with their words. And the truth of it is that they are mortified. They feel awful inside that they couldn't protect you from being that hurt. They couldn't. Either they weren't there, you know, and even if they were there, how many of us have been there with our kids at the park and they've hurt themselves and you end up at the hospital, you can't catch them. There's no way you're going to make it in time. You know? So these accidents are going to happen, but many times what we take away from it is how our parents react to it. That's the truth of it. Their reaction is what makes that event a good event or a bad event in our minds later as a memory. And so if this is something that's happened to you and your parents have made you feel really bad, you know, that you've hurt yourself in any way, the truth of it is that they feel guilty. They feel bad that they weren't there to protect you, because that's our job as a parent, is to make sure that you're safe, to make sure that you grow up to be a beautiful human being. You know? We're there to protect. It's one of the main jobs that we have as a parent. And so when you get hurt as a child, the parent instantly takes it on as, it's my fault, you know? Many things that go wrong with our children, we blame ourselves that it's our fault. We should have been looking. You know, we should have been watching. We should have been there. If it's an event where we weren't even there, we feel guilty that we weren't there to save you from that fall. Because the truth for many parents is that we don't want to see our children suffer. We don't want to see you hurt. We don't. And when we do, we feel that we've done something wrong, that we didn't avoid that. You know, for many parents. Other parents, they understand that that's life. That's what's going to happen. You know, you're going to fall, you're going to stumble, you're going to break. Life goes on. Some parents are great like that. You know, that's just life. But for many others, especially if things have happened to you and they've made you feel bad, the reason is that they feel bad because their job is to protect you. And if you get hurt, they're not doing their job. That's how they feel. You know, they've let you down somehow. So please look at that event and go back to look at how your parents reacted. And if they did react in that way that made you feel bad at the time, because of what happened, you know, I just want you to look at that parent and just understand where they're coming from. Because every event that we're going to be looking at, you're always going to have to look at the other person very carefully and understand where that person is coming from when they've talked to you in a certain way or they've told you certain things. In the previous one, I was talking about my dad when we were at the dentist. Okay, and the truth of it was, my dad as a child was never shown affection. He was never shown love. He didn't know what cuddles were as a kid, any of that. Because when he was growing up in those days, it was considered a sign of weakness. If you did that with your boys especially, they would grow up, you know, sissies. They wouldn't grow up to be men, you know, responsible men, you know, would fit into society. You know, they would end up being soft, they would end up being criminals, or they would end up being, you know, people that weren't accepted by society. Basically, anything that wouldn't be accepted by society was what you would raise if you showed any affection. And so him telling me that day at the dentist that you're so strong because you didn't cry, you're so strong because you didn't scream, you didn't show any emotion, you're so strong, was what he grew up with. You see, every time a parent is telling you something, it's something that they've grown up with. And they've been told this over and over and over again. They've been conditioned to believe that that is the way it is. So it's not because of what you've done or haven't done. It's because of what they've been through. Okay? All right, my darlings. Remember to click like and subscribe below so you don't miss any of the messages. And remember to share, because sharing is caring. So please pass it on. You don't know whose life you may help to turn around. All right. Thanks, my darlings. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next video, okay? Bye for now.